Greetings, fellow scribes! Welcome back to the archive. This week, I continue my series on the classes of AD&D 2nd Edition Dark Sun by talking about the third of the rogue classes, the Trader. Now, this completes the design philosophy that I had noticed among the classes for Dark Sun. In AD&D 2nd Edition, classes were divided into overarching themes. You had the Warrior class group, which was the Fighter, Ranger, Paladin, Gladiator. You had the Wizard group, which was Wizard/Preserver, Specialist Wizards, and Defilers. You had the Cleric subgroup, the Priest subgroup, which was the Cleric, the Druid, Specialist Priests, and in Dark Sun, the Templar. And then you had the Rogue group, which were Thief, Bard, and Trader. And what Dark Sun did with all of these was it kept one class pretty much unchanged. The Fighter was pretty much unchanged. The Thief, pretty much unchanged. The Cleric, while there were tweaks to it and subtle changes, the Cleric is pretty much unchanged. It just had some extra stuff dealing with the elements added to it. The Preserver is pretty much the book wizard, the book mage. They then tweaked and did significant changes to one of the classes. Ranger, Bard, Druid got significant overhauls. And then they created another class in each of them. The Gladiator for the warrior tree, the Templar for the Clerics, the Defiler for the Wizard class grouping, and then they created the Trader. And this is an interesting design philosophy. It set up that Dark Sun was going to be a world where there were things that were recognizable, but then there were things you'd never seen before. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as I talk about the Trader class. Before I start, I have to make a quick statement, which is actually very appropriate for the topic at hand. In order to do this video, I had to acquire the Dune Trader sourcebook for Dark Sun. As you're aware, I have links for Patreon and Ko-fi down in the descriptions below all my videos. If you are in a place where you can support the channel, if you like the channel, if you look forward to seeing it, please consider supporting. Every little bit helps. Especially, for acquiring stuff I need to improve the channel in and of itself. Like a better single lighting system versus a halogen lamp over there, a fluorescent lamp over there, a shaded lamp over that way. But with all that said, please, if you are able to and like to, support the channel or at least share it to your friends. And now, from there, let's get right on into this, shall we? It is time to talk about the Trader from Dark Sun. So the Trader is a brand new class. So we'll start with the basics of the class. The ability score requirements for it were Intelligence 10, Wisdom 15, Charisma 12. Its prime requisites, meaning if you had a 16 or higher in both of these ability scores, you got an extra 10% experience at the end of every session, were Wisdom and Charisma. The only races that could be traders, strangely, were human, elf, and half-elf. Humans could reach any level in the class. Elves could not go beyond level 16, and half-elves could not go beyond level 10. Elves and half-elves could multi-class trader. Interestingly, despite the fact that trader was a rogue subtype, thief and bard were options for half-elves. So you could be a thief trader or a bard trader, as well as fighter thief trader, fighter cleric trader, etc., etc. Because that was how the funky multi-class worked back in the day. The role of a trader in the world of Dark Sun was basically they were the dedicated face for a party. They were the people who would negotiate, do the diplomacy, smooth through the bureaucracy. And at the same time, when your PCs got all their loot, yeah, they could try and sell it themselves, but why? That's what they've got the trader for. And that's what the trader's job would be, to sell their stuff, to get that most money out of it. Keep a finder's fee for himself, of course, to help build up his trading house, because that was ultimately a trader's goal, was to build from just traveling around with a bunch of adventurers, or traveling around with a bunch of adventurer bodyguards, to running his own trading house. At 10th level, the trader would get a number of agents. At the end, for every level, starting at 11th, there was a chance when he got his agents that these agents would be what were called special agents. Now, pretty much the normal agents are just people who are keeping track of stuff for the trader. Information network in various cities, etc., etc. The special agents, though, they could be a fighter or gladiator. They could be a multi-class character. They could be a normal agent with a bunch higher levels. And then you could get stuff like Aarakocra, Belgoy, pseudo-dragons, and anything like that. You could also end up getting an exceptional situation where you've earned the friendship of one of the nomadic tribes, or heck, even the favor of a sorcerer king. And those were just the stuff that happened as you were going up, the contacts you made from plying your trading caravans or making deals and whatnot. An interesting thing is that the trader begins with one of the highest potential starting golds. Starting ceramic pieces of any of the classes. They start off with 2d6 times 60. Which means they exceed even the maximum of a fighter with their 5d4 times 10. Which is just a great thing for the trader, because they need that money, because a bunch of the stuff that they're going to be buying starting off is trade goods. Because what are you going to do with a trader? You're going to trade. From there, traders have an assortment of abilities. Nowhere near as extravagant as the bard, but they do have an assortment of abilities. First is they're masters of intrigue and espionage, meaning they have access to all the thief's skills. Just like a bard, just like a thief. They are a skilled linguist. Every 3 levels of experience, they pick up an extra language. They are, like the bard, a master of poisons. And then comes the signature ability of the trader. The trader has a natural ability to fast talk. Fast talk is the art of distraction and conning. It's a charisma check, and the fast talker is able to persuade his target to go along with whatever he wanted. It could be out and out fraud, selling worthless merchandise, or it can simply be getting a better deal. This is where the trader comes into his own for the party. This is how he's able to take a bone dagger the party finds in a crypt and sell it for a profit. This is where he'll buy that party the steel widow's knife for a steal. Literally. This is where he'll be able to convince a Templar to let the party go. And then we get into the proficiencies. Non-weapon proficiencies have always been an interesting part of the D&D 2nd edition. They're considered optional, but they're not really. And traders can take from the rogue, warrior, and general proficiencies. And they can take the bureaucracy proficiency from priests. From their initial proficiency slots, they are required to take appraising and bargain. No other class actually has mandatory proficiency slots. Of course, other useful proficiencies are bureaucracy, etiquette, intimidation, writing, survival, and weather sense. But you don't necessarily have to have all of those, especially if you're in a group of adventurers who other members have those. It's why you want a ranger in your party, by the way. And that is the basics of the trader class. What you want to do is you are going to be trying to get money and build your own trading house. Traders are the class for those who are ambitious, who want to move into circles of greatness through any means necessary. Because the ultimate goal of any trader is always to get the next best bargain. With that said, that is it for the discussion on the trader. Next week, I'm going to finish up the classes by talking about the psionicist. Until then, I'd like you all to remember to have fun and keep gaming.